Ooh, symphony. Oh, wow. Yes. Fuck yeah. Look at this. 10 points, 100 points. I'll give them some primos. I would like to say, imagine, that looks a little bit like somebody I know that actually makes computer games. Imagine you spend your life working on your music, get really fucking good, get in the orchestras, playing all your Beethoven and your Tchaikovsky. You're doing this gig. I wonder if you have, I mean, you could play Genshin Impact, you might be into it, you might be a gamer. Like, I wonder if that, it must be so interesting to be playing this new music, because I bet these people have to play a lot of classical. Or maybe they don't. Maybe you play a lot of new music on your oboe. Maybe I'm wrong. I bet they have played a lot of classical while they've been learning. And this would be fucking cool, wouldn't it? Like, what are you doing tonight with the orchestra? Oh, we've been booked to do the Sumeru Live Symphony Performance. What's Sumeru? It's in Genshin Impact. What's Genshin Impact? I've got no idea. Give me my oboe and shut up. She looks cross, that's all. But no, it would be fucking cool, wouldn't it? It would be cool to get to do this. You're going to have Genshin Impact music in the background. Unless I bin it off. Hang on. Quick game. Quit that. Quit Genshin Impact quickly, just so that we can listen to this without it going ooh, ooh, ooh in the background. Thank you. And let's have a listen. It is a little bit quiet in their recording, and without the facility to turn it up any louder, that's the loudness it goes. But inspiration for Sumeru is the Persian Empire, so all the way from Egypt to India. That's quite a clever thing to do, isn't it? Gives it a nice wide, because Persia as well, you'd call that Iran these days. It'd give you a really wide gamut and a wide historical, you know, like Persia still exists really, but they call it Iran. But it gives you a wide, you know, range of historical times as well, doesn't it? It's interesting because that motif, that it kind of demands a resolution, and it holds you. Here's the oboe. Oboe solo. Flautists now. I love the rich quality that a real orchestra brings to it. It's cool seeing it done like this. Big bass strings. And yeah, you've got a nice, like, sort of Arabic lilt to this, haven't you? It's making me think of, hey, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Like the markets of Marrakesh. Oh, hello. Gerudo Valley. Reminds you of Indiana Jones. There you go. Yeah, it must be a feature of the orchestral, like whoever did Indiana Jones, and the feel of that. Maybe it's because we watched it when we were young as well, and it like imprinted on us that this is what that feels like this combination of things. I don't know, but they're working on a similar, like, I wonder if they must be on a similar premise. Like, the feeling we want people to have when they hear this music is that they are in this sort of a place. And my archetypal place is that it's the little monkey on the guy's shoulder while he's wearing his fez, and the monkey has his dates. The monkey dies, doesn't he? The poor monkey. He eats the dates and the dates are poisoned. Where's that then? Come on. This little monkey. It's this little monkey. I won't do the video. It's that little monkey. It's him and the monkey. And these baskets. Which, now looking at them, we used to have a washing basket like that. They're not actually, you know, those baskets, the eye patch isn't that realistic, is it? And I don't know what this metal plate with 5137 stenciled on it would have been like back in the day. Well, it could have had that because it was set in the war, wasn't it? I'm picturing it much more further back in history, but it wasn't. It was fairly modern, actually, set during the war. So Indiana Jones, the little monkey, and the monkey had the dates. It fucking died. Indiana, that's it. Bad dates. Yeah. Indiana Jones, man. He went through some shit, didn't he? He had a face on the whole time. Like, I get this. People say this to me that I moan a lot. I don't know if you've noticed. My ear popped off. My headphones broke. They are accustomed to doing that. They haven't done it for a long time. It's because of the heat. Yeah, I am a bit of a moaner sometimes, but Indiana Jones was always in a fucking bad mood as well. He was always well fed up with all the shit going on. It was always going on and he had to put up with it. And there she is. She was... I think little me had a bit of a thing for her and her big smile and like happy-go-lucky attitude. And then she was all screaming and yelling when all the insects were on her. And he had this, the rope bridge. This was powerful film. Powerful film. They're all coming towards him. They're coming towards him on both sides. So what is he fucking cuts? Don't want to spoil Indiana Jones for anyone out there who hasn't managed to watch it in the last 36 years. But like, he cuts the rope bridge. So they both go falling. They all go falling. And he doesn't die. He's the only one that knows it's going to happen. So he's ready. Tells them, hold on. He's ready. But these chuffers with the turbans that are chasing him with the curved scimitars, who look a bit like extras in the background now. They look very realistic and very frightening when I was a kid. Those chuffers, they don't know it's about to happen. They go down and get eaten by the crocodiles. So they have that. That goes on. This is military vehicles and stuff, isn't it? He's having a bad day, though. All the time he's having a bad day. It's all happening around him. Even from the start when he has to go... When he has to go swapping that, you'd at least think that would go right. He's planned it. No. He has to run through all the spider webs. He's always having a bad day. He's always in a bit of a cross mood. So that's, yeah, the music. Going back to... Look, what... it's appealing to my North Indian blood, of which I have 10%, so I could do my Bollywood dancing to it. It's appealing to that. It's building, and I tell you what's nice about it is the texture of the bass notes, like the deeper notes, which I know you've got to have all that melody on top. I know you've got to have all that treble. I know you've got to play a hi-hat. It's not just going to be a kick drum and a bass guitar. But for me, when I'm listening to music, the bit I like the most is the bass clef. So the bass notes carry this along and give a sense of adventure, and the winding melody makes you feel like it really seems to match what we're anticipating, which is exploration and excitement, and it seems to match that. Is that a sitar? That's nice. That carrying through like that was nice. Very nice. I like that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that. The concept of it. I'm going to have to listen to it again. The concept of it was so nice. Because we were building, and like you felt that we were building somewhere, and then it took us away. Like that wooden flute just came up on the top of all this, like it's like energy, isn't it? Like on the top of all this building energy, this flute then just rode up on top like a surfer on a wave, and then just off the top and away. I can't ever dissociate that sound from psychedelics. Thanks, 1960s. Hello, Roger Dodger. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It has a bit of a trippy vibe, doesn't it? A bit of a hippie vibe. It's definitely got vibes out of this, actually, this whole thing, hasn't it? It's a really nice production, the way they've combined the orchestra with these. Sometimes you want to invite in some more exotic instruments to give yourself a more exotic sound, but either you are actually... what I wanted to say was, you could actually just employ, like... an exotic orchestra. Like, they don't have to have all these traditional instruments. You could just use the, non-traditional or other traditional cultures. What am I saying? Traditional. Other cultures, like ethnic, different to your region, consider their instruments traditional. But we would consider this orchestra setup the traditional orchestra setup, and we've invited some more exotic or world instruments into it, yeah? But you could go the full hog and just say, we'll do it all with world instruments. We'll, book some Samoans and let them play how they play, or whatever. Like, Samoa would be the wrong place, wouldn't it? We'd book some Persians, some Iranians, and whatever instruments. Or, I like the way they've layered this, like cinematic layer down, cinematic orchestra. Like, one of the reasons we thought of Indiana Jones is because this is a cinematic style orchestra production. We're talking about game music, and you can approach game music in so many ways. Like, you don't have to do, you could just have like 8-bit, like, you're allowed to do whatever game music. It doesn't have to be orchestral, but they've decided to go down this road, obviously for that. There's like 2 or 3 reasons, actually, I'd say. One is that the feelings you can evoke and the sort of range of the orchestra is quite impressive, and that is hopefully in marriage with Genshin Impact. And also, I think there's a quality to it that makes it seem high class, high quality, high culture, and brings what some people might say is a dirty gacha game, brings it up in a way. And also, I think there's something about Genshin Impact that I discovered recently when can't get my words out now, and I want to have background music as well while I'm talking. There's something about Genshin Impact. I've got to remember where that flute is as well, because we're going to listen to that flute in just a second, 348. There's something about Genshin Impact that you run around using elemental powers in an environment that's beautiful, and the Archons are embodiments of their elements. So, although every Archon wasn't, you know, some of them have been like the Archon of scripts or something, like, but... What I think is good is there's a real cohesion between this feeling of natural world, organic, elemental interactions, and you take part in that. That's the game. In Tower of Fantasy, you're shooting a mecha gun, and there's mechanical. Like, it's not that. It's not that big mechanical enemies. It's not got that same vibe and feeling. So I think there's something special about having real instruments playing the music in a way that we naturally understand as being human and, you know, organic. And some of these world instruments bring some of that vibe from their certain region, but also they bring, because the sitar is not a perfect instrument. The sitar, the reason it sounds as it does is because you get that, like, bending of notes. You know, I don't think you could say, I'm going to play this on the sitar 100 times and it's going to sound exactly the same 100 times. I mean, most instruments are like that because we've got human, you know, you play a bass riff and you're trying to play it the same every time. But if you really listen, I'm sure there'll be a certain inconsistency in my ability to hold it and hit it exactly every time. Even just the way I bend the finger on the guitar or something, you know, there'll be inconsistencies, but it's more played out with some of these instruments, like the sitar. It has that bend in it, so it gives it that more organic feel. I like that. And then I really enjoyed this, where they built to something substantive and let that flute just take us off the top, out and away, into somewhere else. It gave you a feeling of just like Genshin Impact, you know, building up, climbing these things, flying off the top of them with your glider. I'm well impressed with this. And I like the way that is repeated through these different instruments, like these different sections of the orchestra, because it's a repeating motif that, like, holds these things together, that, you know, we're coming back to again and again. But also it sounds like a question that's literally echoing, like, around these emptier, wider spaces. You know, it's giving a feel for this quest in the desert that we're about to go on. It's a really good piece of music, this. I'm well impressed. And I will just stop it and let it play another few more minutes, because I keep stopping it, sorry. But also, it's got a lot of romance to it, which I think is important. You know, it's got a lot of organic human emotion and romance because it's orchestral. I really like that. Thought that was really good. And if anything, I'm going to steal the... I make tracks on Reason. I don't know if you've never seen this before. I'm not going to bang on and play loads of them now. I'm just going to quickly show you Reason and that I do it, and talk, you know, for context for what I'm saying. But I'm not going to make you listen to loads of music now, so don't worry. Where is my reason? Give me a reason for living. Reason. This is a music production program and a production music in it. Production music. Where is it? There it is. It's going to be loud, remember, so I have to turn it down because it's always loud. Okay, have a go. So I make a bit of music in the old production software there, yeah? So I'm going to steal that idea of that flute taking us off the top out into the break. I quite like it. I think it's really nice. And the other thing that I was going to steal as well is at the end of this, there's a really nice, like the bass notes. Again, it's like almost like introducing a bass line at the end that you could just take and say, right, that's going to be my bass line on this dance tune. Like you could just basically steal that, couldn't you, and like create a whole track with that as your basis as your start riff. And it's kind of like their thing, isn't it? I do wonder sometimes with Genshin Impact, because some of their music has sounded like it's been stolen from other places and then just reworked a little bit. But that was a really nice, just little like. Yeah, that kicks ass, doesn't it? It kicks ass. Swirls of Shamshir. And that's really nice to start with the same riff that you just ended the last thing on. It, like for, if you're playing a guitar band, like I used to, yeah. When you're writing songs, like sometimes you don't do it deliberately, but you might do a set list and you might want to start and end on similar, like you might deliberately group songs that are in the same key or have the same, like if you have to retune to drop D or something, you want to put all the drop D songs together, obviously, or you can keep tuning up and down. But what's actually nice in music, sometimes with a single piece of music to start on a note and finish on the same note, sometimes with a riff to start on a note and finish on the same note, even if you're going all the way up here to come back down to here, like it feels kind of complete in a way. And in an album, like you sometimes write tracks completely independent of each other and then you put them together on a CD and you have to decide which order to put them in sometimes. Not anymore because they don't have CDs. Bandcamp, is that still going? Right, but in other times you might actually be able to say, look, I've got this song here and I want a quiet moment on the album here, and I've got this song here, I've got some gaps and I'm going to fill them in. And when you start writing, you might think this last song finishes like this, so where are we going to go from there? And it's lovely when you're doing an orchestral cohesive thing like they're doing here to just start with the same damn riff, and you're not going to, you're going to do something different, but to just start on it is brave. And it makes a statement and it joins everything together and it's really nice. I like that. Ooh. Oh, I love that. Right, that's like a shark moving through the water, isn't it? Like you're just lost for a minute listening to these. Maybe for me, it's because I'm not so used to these I call them world instruments that are non-specific to the orchestra. Like other instruments than your standard orchestral instruments, the sitar and the little guitar, the little mini. It's not a ukulele. I mean, whatever that is, them. These instruments are cool, and it's interesting listening to them. And I got lulled into. I was about to say this is like the non-orchestral, more world music version of what we just heard, isn't it? But then the orchestra just That's why it's strings. I love deep strings, and when I was used to make a lot of drum and bass tunes, which I'm not going to make you listen to now, but I've got a lot, and we're going to start a channel with all my old tunes on. We're going to start resurrecting it all and dropping new beats. Just, you know, bear that in mind for the future at some point. But when I used to do that, I used to use deep strings and orchestral tuba as well for these things that they can do. And the tuba is more ships for me, but the strings, those deep, dark strings, maybe obviously Jaws, you know, you connect it, don't you? But for me, that's like something lurching through the water in the deeper depths of the music. And it was just cool the way it just sort of lurked its way in, like in a dark, moody way. Like these two sets are having a conversation with each other. Like, you know, taking it in turns. They're having a conversation with each other. So from out of nowhere, from somewhere else, there's an intruder. Oh, these are falling into sync. There's an intruder. Now we're all in. Again, the choice here to use something that has, I mean, I don't know if it's traditional to any specific region, but it does have a very breathy sound to it, and it feels very human. Like, I'm hoping these are specific choices that have been made for these reasons, because if they are, they're good choices. They're just so on it. They're just so on it, man. Well, he lays out a little like, you know, you think you're floating for a little minute, but you're not. Underneath, there's work going on. Like, I can't explain. I think I can explain these things in these terms, but I can't explain them in musical terms because I'm not that educated in all these musical things. But underneath that, there's that dun 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 dun, which like is like the dance bit. It's like the dun 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 dun, like that, like is building and is underneath that float that we went on with this. I think it's really cool. We're up here first. Dun 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 dun. Now together. Dun 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 dun. We're sort of going somewhere a bit weird on the bridge. Bit mysterious. They're going to bring it back round, surely. I don't know if it's because of cinema or if there's something like almost cowboy about this as well, almost western, like a western in there as well. I think it's really good. Yeah. Like, yeah. That's cool, isn't it? I thought that was really fucking good. It's the only time I've actually thought, because I know I like a bit of classical music from time to time, I'll listen to it, but I haven't thought I would actually, like, if I bought tickets to a, like, you know, classical music event, I had to sit there for like an hour and a half and listen to it, I'd be like, oh, you know, maybe this is a bit much for me. But that's the first time I've thought I'd buy tickets to go and sit and see that. You could play the whole Genshin Impact for me on orchestra, and I'll buy tickets and I'll go and see that, and I'll be like, yeah, have a bit of that. That was cool. It's interesting they've decided to upload that. Filmed at the Alexandra... Hang on, it was filmed at the Alexandra Palace Theatre. Isn't that in London? London Symphony Orchestra. So they're not fucking about. That's the London Symphony Orchestra. Like, they're proper, like, those people are, like, you don't get to be in the London Symphony Orchestra because you, like, fancy a bit of a play on your harmonica on the Friday nights. Hang on, the dog's barking. I hope they didn't do that behind closed doors on their own. No one clapped, did they? So I bet they did that. I bet they just paid the London Symphony Orchestra to play the music and they recorded it and that was it. But really, they should be doing that as a live event where people can go and dress up as Genshin Impact people and run around. Like, could you imagine them playing the Genshin Impact? Imagine when they got a solo singer on to do oh, oh, at the very start. Imagine that. You're all sat there, the curtain goes down, the lights go down, everyone's dressed up as fucking Paimon and what have you, right? Everyone's having a great time. The lights go down, the curtain goes down, spotlight on one lone singer who comes on the stage. You think your fucking Raiden Shogun cosplay's good. Wait till you see this chuffer. She comes out. Well, she won't be Raiden Shogun, will she? Who should she be? Maybe Lumine. Maybe it needs to be Lumine. And like, this Lumine character can take us through the we'd have to have all the different people from Genshin Impact appearing on stage at some point, full cosplay, doing some sort of musical piece. It would be a fucking banging night, wouldn't it? It would be banging.